The Charity of the Week, brought to you by Kell Properties.
So our charity this week is Friends of Robert Owen House, and we are chatting with Jill and Maria to find out all about the charity. Before we chat more about what the charity does and who it's for, how did you both get involved with this charity? Jill, what about you?
My dad had life-saving surgery at Liverpool Heart and Chest Hospital, and it required him being in the hospital for 7 weeks. And the house was our absolute godsend lifesaver. And I'm one of 4 grown-up children, and we all took it in turns to stay with Mum in the time while he was receiving that treatment. And he'd been there a few days when they were trying to stabilise him, and he actually hemorrhaged in the middle of the night. And we were 2 minutes away. Whereas had we been in a hotel, it would have been a taxi and various other logistics of trying to actually get there to be at his a very scary time for him and for us as a family. And it was because of that, when I knew the charity were looking for new volunteers to get involved, that I didn't want to see this fold. It was so important for us as a family and every other family who they all have their own tale to tell.
Well, exactly, because the thing is, when you're on the Isle of Man, of course, you've got that added stress of the travel when your loved one does need to go off island. And so, yes, you do still have to do the travel, but to end up somewhere that feels like home from home anyway is crucial, isn't it, Jill?
Yeah, it was vital to us as a family, and the shared experience with other residents who were staying there at the time, who I think many become lifelong friends, and the facilities there, it really is a home from home. And actually my mum, her therapy was, we took over her baking tins and she made cakes for the other residents who were in there, because in 7 weeks it's a long while. And it was that sort of little community in there.
And it's also, you've talked about the comfort of it and the sort of safe space of it, but also takes away some of the financial stress as well, because 100%. It's so reasonable, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So it's currently priced at £30 per person per night, and there are single, twin and family rooms. We were presenting to a group of ladies last week, actually, and one of the ladies down there talked about, she's obviously from the island, her husband was receiving treatment, but her family were in the south of England, so her daughter and grandchildren came up, and they all stayed at Robert Owen House, and it does make a significant difference financially to people having to find accommodation in Liverpool, especially
when you're there for 7 weeks.
Absolutely.
Like you were just saying, Jill, that's a long
soon
time.
Racks up.
And of course, we're talking a lot about the sort of family element and the friends element of how this is good for them, but actually this has got to be good for the patients as well, Jill.
Absolutely. If a person is unwell and stressed and worrying about their family, how they can afford it, how close are they, what happens if I ring them up and I need them and they're trying to get a taxi or a bus, or they could be still on the island. But at £30, it is well within what government will pay or may pay towards accommodation. And it is, and the house, if there are times of extreme need financially, they do help out.
But Jill, it's not just the older population that benefit from this, is it? No,
it's absolutely not. We all assume that if there's a heart condition, that it is older people. But there's a little story of a little girl whose uncle was in the Heart and Chest Hospital, and she stayed there with her mummy. And in Robert Owen House, in the conservatory, there are piles of board games, playing cards, there are books, there are things to occupy you in those long, long hours. And this little girl spent a lot of time with other relatives staying there. Her favourite game was playing Operation.
She might grow up to be a surgeon.
Yes.
You never know.
Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I played Operation. I wouldn't trust me with a scalpel, but and that's the thing, because you also mentioned there's 17 rooms, isn't there? And so right. I'm guessing that everyone sort of comes together at some point, and that's emotional support in itself, isn't it?
Definitely, because there are communal spaces in terms of the kitchen is fully equipped, so and the house provides free breakfast and tea and coffee facilities. So there's always people in and out of preparing meals at any given time, and there's a conservatory, dining area, even the laundry room. So you could be, meeting people and chatting over your loved ones over washing your smalls. So there's a lot of camaraderie there. So yes.
And who sort of qualifies as such? Is it literally open and available to anyone who wants to try and book a room? Because I'm assuming as well you've got to be careful because sometimes it might be fully booked.
Yes, it is on a first come first served basis. However, the staff at the home are wonderful, very supportive, very knowledgeable, and they always say to people, if it is full, please give us a call tomorrow, give us your number, and we'll let you know as soon as somewhere becomes available, because patients are released at short notice, and suddenly a room will become available, and it is a huge lifesaver, a godsend for those people.
And it sounds like that the people that have benefited from it are potentially people like yourselves who've gone on to want to support the charity, maybe raise some money for the charity. You must have heard some interesting stories over the years.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, there's an awful lot of people out there who stay there directly and then simply want to give back. I mean, let's remember that's how the local charity started, by June Young staying there, and she and her husband wanted to give back.
So if people are wanting to support, I'm guessing it's not just about the financial support. Are you ever on the lookout for volunteers as well to help you? Because you're a small team, aren't you?
Always. Always. It is hard as a small charity, but we're a very close group and have very quickly become firm friends because we have that common goal.
And what sort of person would you be looking for to help you out? What sort of things can people do to support you?
Well, I think anybody that wants to raise funds, and depending on what what you do, that can take many different forms. It could be a coffee morning. It could be running up and down Snaefell for charity. It could be a bike ride. It could be a cake sale at a primary school. So it doesn't really matter what the fundraising is, but anybody who would like to raise funds for Friends of Robert Owen House would be fantastic.
And you mentioned as well, people can take leaflets out and around for you too.
Absolutely. So yeah, we have a leaflet explaining all the details about Robert Owen House, and we've placed them in the hospital, GP surgeries, local pharmacies. But if anybody's anywhere they think that it's a sort of a community space that would benefit, has got a leaflet rack, then please give me a shout on 464 785 and I will happily deliver a bunch of leaflets.
Well, it's wonderful what you do, I have to say. And Jill, for anyone who missed the conversation earlier in the week, where can they go to kind of look up more information and find out more about you?
Is to go to our Facebook page, which is the Friends of Robert Owen House. There is the contact Maria on 464 785, or email us FROH fundraising@manx.net.
The Charity of the Week, brought to you by Kell Properties.